Do you often go upstairs and then forget why you're up there? Do you know, that is exactly what happened to me the other day. I went upstairs to get my coat because I was going off to Westminster. Then I completely forgot. I thought, what am I doing upstairs? Do you get all the way around the supermarket, get home, then remember the one thing you had forgotten to get? It is frustrating, isn't it? Well, you are not alone. Most of us, sometime or other during the day, forget what we are doing. I do it most days of the week. Well, Memory Matters Southwest is a charity who are launching elephant workshops to improve your memory. Let's hear more from Kate Smith, one of the directors. Kate, you're also a nurse, I understand. Afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Laurence. Yes, I am a nurse.
Good to get you on the programme. How common, then, is memory loss?
Oh, extremely common. We've been here at Asda at St Austell this morning talking to people about their memory problems and their forgetfulness. And I have to say that 99.9% of people we've stopped have forgotten something at least once today. So it's very, very common. And it's just from all ages, where the youngest person we spoke to was 30 and the oldest person we spoke to was 85. And I have to say the 85-year-old lady we spoke to had a better memory than I did.
Do you know, ironically, we're going to be touching on a feature about Alzheimer's today, and that's all linked with memory. But this is not anything to do with Alzheimer's necessarily, is it?
No, of course. I mean, we're running on the adage of use it or lose it. So basically, the elephant workshops that we've got are all around making sure that we exercise our brains just like we exercise our bodies. So that's what the elephant workshops are all about, and they're fun and they're sociable. And what we're doing today is just trying to find out what kind of interest there would be from the public to use that exercise for their brain.
So what's the trigger then? I'm guessing the older you are you more likely to have a worse memory? Is that just a wrong assumption?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, everybody has a degree of forgetfulness about them, some more than others. There's a very social term called mumnesia that I've heard bandied about quite often, which is invariably new mums tend to forget things a little more often, and because they've got so much going on in their heads, there's always space for things that they need to remember. So it's different for everybody.
I mean, I've, do you know what? I think my memory personally is getting worse. I don't think I've ever had a very good memory. I always write things down, particularly people's names, even my own children. I mean, if one of them's if one of them's playing, I'll go Jack, George, Harry. I'll go through even cats' names until I get the right one. Is that just forgetfulness or my brain just being overactive?
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with concentration and the fact that being able to concentrate specifically on a subject will enable you to remember things a little better. And it's all about making sure that you've got a good technique for remembering things. A lot of people we spoke to today, when they were talking about their shopping list, they tend to go through the alphabet and think, right, I need, A for apples and B for bananas and that kind of thing. And also about names and things like that for people, it's about making sure that you make sure that memory is imprinted when you learn that name so that it doesn't tend to get forgotten as much. And
this elephant workshop, is it just happening today then?
It is, and what we're doing today is just finding out from people whether they would be interested in us putting them on. And it's basically for people to exercise their brains. So we're looking at putting these workshops on, and we're sending out questionnaires to people to see what kind of things people forget, and also so that we can gain some information from the public as to how often they want them and where they want them and whether the interest is there in the first place.
And which Asda store are you at?
We're at St Austell.
St Austell, I know it. You're going to be there until what time?
We've just finished, actually, but there is information on our website.
Yeah, I'll take that.
To register their interest, and they just need to put their information on the contact form, and we can email them with all the information.
Fantastic. And your website is?
The website is www.memorymatters.
One word?
Yes, one word.
Yep.
SW.
Yep.
.co.uk.
.co.uk. So www.memorymmatters.sw.southwest.sw.co.uk. Just briefly go through a couple of these techniques then. I mean, very simply, what would some of these techniques be to improve someone's memory?
Basically, we use visual techniques, which includes some degree of imagination as well. So, for example, one of the techniques is the journey technique. And what that is you visualise something familiar to you, like your the rooms in your house, or your way to work, or your way to school. And for whatever you want to remember, you link in something visual to that part. So, for example, if I wanted to remember from the supermarket apples, pasta, just thinking off the top of my head, biscuits, what I would do is I would look at the front door of my house and I would visualise a picture of a apple tree with pasta hanging off it. And then I would walk into my lounge and I would see a television that was made out of biscuits with beans for buttons. So automatically what I've done is I've linked in a couple of those to make my memory shorter so that I can remember things a little bit better. And I will come back to that later on. And I will be able to recall that quite easily.
See, my memory when it comes to people's names is really quite awful. And I talked about an incident yesterday, where our manager came in a few years ago to read the news at 12 o'clock, and I looked at her, forgot her name, and I said, "Oh, the news now with..." And she smiled at me. I said, "with." She smiled at me. And eventually I had to ask her on air, "Sorry, what's your name? I've forgotten." So now, seriously, it's really embarrassing. And because, because you're working with people all the time, there is this expectation that you will know who they are immediately, but your mind goes blank. Is that me getting old, or is it just a normal sort of occurrence?
No, it's a very normal occurrence.
Is it?
The more stress that you have, the more thought blocking that you get.
So it's all to do with stress, is it?
Yes, of course. When you're put on the spot, you are less likely to remember what you want to remember.
Right.
But another way of remembering names is to actually visualise that person with something that links them. So Mrs. King, you may visualise Mrs. King with a crown on her head. So the next time you see her, you're like, crown, yes, that's Mrs. King. The difficulty is when you know them very well and you're still visualising them. That's the trouble. Yeah,
so you don't know me. I'm sort of, mid-50s, 53, 54. My memory's obviously fading a bit. I mean, it's a big ask, I know, but can you improve my memory?
Well, I think we could have a go at improving everybody's memory, to be honest. I don't think anybody's out of our realm, really.
All right, the best way to find out for me and you guys out there is www.memorymatters.sw.co.uk. I remembered that without writing it down.
Just to let you know, there's no dot in between Memory Matters and SW.
I told you I didn't remember it. So, don't do this. www.memorymatters... SW.co.uk. I'll tell you what, I'll see if... Rosie, can you remember that? Can you put that on our Facebook page,
yes,
by any chance? So it's www.memorymatterssw.co.uk. Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
Because she's very good at remembering stuff, Kate.
Yeah, what was that?
Oh, yeah, I know. Don't start. That's not funny. All right, listen. Hey, Kate, good talking to you.
And you. Thank you very much, Laurence. Take care.
What did she call herself? That's Kate. Thank you, Kate. Look, a tenuous link as well.